Hey guys, welcome back to another Vanguard video. So I was thinking today was going to be kind of a throwaway video because especially we only have 2 triple rares, but we got a Brandt Gate triple rare generic and there is a lot to talk about because it is that good, and the Impauldio triple rare is also amazing. So do stay tuned. There's also the Fortia triple rare as well as some kind of news on like promos and other things, which I'll get to at the end. So first off, we have Magnetic Force Monster Magnides. And this card is basically a set order teeth for Brandt, which is absolutely amazing. I'll talk about some application that you could throw it in. But first off, the auto, when placed on rearguard circle, other than by unit's card ability, so basically by hand or through, let's say, an order card like Wisdom, blah, 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 you know, the usual for teeth. If you played a set order this turn, costs Soul Blast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from among them, reveal it, call it to rearguard circle if it's a unit card, or put into your hand if it's a set order, so it just can't add normal orders, and then shuffle your deck. Then auto rearguard circle the second ability when it attacks a grade 3 or greater unit. If your order zone has a set order, it gets plus 5k to end a battle, and then if you have Vanguard with monsters card name, it gets plus 10 instead of plus 5. So basically, if your Vanguard is Archite or El Glima. So amazing card. First off, it's just, you know, teeth. In decks or ride lines that search, you know, torrential to play for turns, such as Ava and Edglima, Archite, this is amazing, just free make board. I think in Messiah, this could see application. You play this and Veltrosa literally in any deck that uses set orders, and you just make a whole board on one turn with 1 counterblast and soul, which is just absolutely crazy. I do think Messiah, you know, they kind of cut out Veltrosa to make the build more tanky, but you know, if you want an early game Messiah, you can just play, you know, the fishing order package, the set order that they were playing with Veltrosa before, also throw this in. You know, it is a little bit heavy on your soul, and you do want your soul in the late game to, of course, draw a bunch of cards from Messiah's GB2. But, you know, this card is just amazing for pile. For Ava, it's just making more of a board early. For Archite, this is helping you stabilize and rush, you know, find your, I call them, you know, Brachio forces, but, you know, the grade 2 that stacks itself off in order to draw 1 later on. And then, you know, this thing is also getting plus 10 as well. You know, it's not getting the power when you go first, but the fact that this is just getting a free body for Soul Blast 1 once you play a set order is very easy. And of course, again, like mentioned in the ride lines like Ava, Edglima, Archite, that are already searching, you know, set orders every turn just by riding up, this is the easiest thing in the world. I think this could also have potential in Impauldio as well, which we'll get to with the triple rare that is absolutely amazing. I think this is also great in Rotovisor. There's arenas as well that you are playing probably every turn, you know, to get that plus 5k and the restand to your front row. So like this card is just amazing. You could literally throw this in like everything else, you know, maybe Advan and whatever, because they are also playing set orders usually, though I'm not sure if the Advan is really playing the set order turn 2, but you do search the strategy anyways. But yeah, this card is just amazing. I was not expecting a reveal to be, you know, this hype in terms of a triple rare generic. It's just like set order teeth. It's just that good. This, I don't think it solves the problems for a lot of Brandt Gate decks, but like, wow, this is just free early game for every, you know, Brandt Gate deck that uses set order. You could throw this in torrential into any deck. You can, you know, check top 5. You know, you could add this to your hand. You could grab your, you know, your PGs, you know, the monster named PGs, and like literally anything else. Mobile Mine is also a monster, by the way, so torrential can grab that too. So it's a very easy splashable monster package that was already really good in Ava, and it's just even better. You can throw into any deck. So well, I do think you're not throwing torrential research into like random other Brandt Gate decks like Messiah or anything anytime soon. I think it is an option, and I'll show a funny deck list for Impauldio that I was talking to a friend, aka Mr. Click 01014 about. So, you know, I think it's actually just crazy that like this thing exists. This adds so much like value to the Brandt Gate split for set 10, and I think this definitely bumps up set 10's value a lot, because like you are definitely going to want 4 of this for like, you know, if you're a Brandt Gate main, probably multiple play sets, honestly. This card is just that good. And again, it's also getting power from the auto just generically. So yeah, I've spent basically 4 minutes talking about the application of this, you know, new triple rare, but it is just that insane and consistent. Like, it's good early game, it's good late game, it's just making you a board. It's just hard to say this card is bad unless you are really struggling on soul issues. But even like, you know, when we'll get to Impauldio, you want a soul blast cards to get them into drop for your AutoMOD gauge. Anyways, I'm kind of jumping ahead. Alright, so next up we have the triple rare Impauldio, which is Viadoll Hayday, and this card is amazing. So continuous, if your order zone has system code exceed, which you will obviously get from the ride line for riding the 1, this card gets all the following. So auto, when it's placed on rearguard circle, if you have 2 or more AutoMOD gauges, you cost Soul Blast 2 to draw 1. So amazing. Getting the 2 is a little bit awkward because, like, of course you would want to take damage as Impauldio, so you're probably going to take 2, but you want to have 2 cards in your drop zone. So, you know, that might not always happen by turn 2, especially if you go first. but like still amazing card. You know, you no longer have to play Kanone or other awkward cards to Soul Blast 2, or you could just throw in, you know, the Magnetic Force monster we just looked at to just, you know, play a set order for turn. You know, placing by the token for your grade 1 rideline doesn't count for Magnet Monster's condition for the set order Teeth. But, you know, regardless, this is still it's not a hard condition. You know, Soul Blast 2 draw 1 is amazing. You're not burning CB. And then, of course, the second skill is what is the highlight here. So it's basically a wave 1 skill for those who played, you know, Aqua Force in G. So auto regard circle at the end of the battle that this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit while not boosted. So it does not work going first. If it is the first battle of that turn, you cost counterblast 1, stand this unit. So 4 attacks. Pretty big. You can play Trafficon. I'm going to show some lists just as a meme that you could technically play in Impauldio to get like 5-6 attacks, which is really funny. This technology already existed before. I should say the tech, like people already knew about this, and like they did determine it was a lot worse because I think Impauldio does play a lot better as a tanky deck, especially because you have the really good Blitz order, the one that calls 2 Guardian Circle, and you have your giant shields. So I think Impauldio playing as a more sustain is better, but like this just helps with the grind game as well. And of course, being able to Soul Blast 2 cards instead of, you know, using Counterblast or Energy to draw 1 is absolutely just amazing. And it's very easy to get this out because you have the old grade 1, I believe it's from set 5 to Energy Blast 3 once you have a certain amount of AutoMOD gauges, and then call to rear. So very easy to get out. It's just amazing. Kind of sucks that it's not like Yugmashad. You know, it's very obvious they're trying to kind of, you know, be very tame with what Impauldio can do and limit the amount of attacks. So it's a 4 attack deck. You swing this unboosted, it'll restand. You swing Van, Divine Skill, whatever. Then you have Giant Robot on side to do drive checks, and then this thing afterwards. So, you know, I still think this isn't necessarily what Impauldio needed, but this is definitely pushing the ceiling of the deck up a lot. Alright, so here is kind of like a proxy meme list. You have Valtryssa, which is the magnetic monster to check top 5, you know, using Soul instead of Counterblast. It's just a placeholder here. And then Citrus here is the Restander, the wave 1 Restander that we just got, the triple rare. So the combo is with Traffic and Golduck, so you boost, you know, pitch him, then you CB1 call him. It is a very Counterblast heavy combo, and you know, we have 4 Trenchals here because you have a lot of targets. You know, the new Teithfallt, the new set order Teithfallt is a monster. Golduck is not a monster, unfortunately, but you know, Traffic and the PGs are Gurgans, so you know, you do have like a lot of targets. You also have Baldurade as well, which can grab you grade 2 or graders or Torrential, and of course Baldurade will be active immediately because you have, you know, 1 guaranteed set order from your from the token, and then of course you can also get that +5 buff as well. So very, very funny deck list. The way you would do this is you have to basically swing the first guy unboosted, CB1 restand, then like I guess swinging Van is a little bit awkward. Soul and Fronts are also here because your soul is really heavy if you do want to Soul Blast 2 for the restand effect, plus you know using Valtryssa and whatnot, not Valtryssa, using the magnetic monster effect. It's pretty much the attack pattern. You go rear restands. I guess you kind of want to swing sides first to get the grade 2 out, and then swing Van and hit a front. So it'd be like sides boosted, they call the 2 out afterwards. It's like a little bit awkward, honestly, and you do need a lot of CB because every call is basically 1 CB. So, you know, it is just a meme build. Ace Unit is just here because, you know, you have Torrential to tap, so it'll be top 5 just to find your combo pieces. So I think it's absolutely hilarious build that you can try just to have a lot of fun with doing a billion attacks with crest power, essentially, with Impauldio. But I do think Impauldio does, you know, really shine in the long game where you're playing the usual, you know, not the defensing roar. I'm forgetting the name of the blitz order, but I'll put it up on screen. You know, the one that's putting 2 grade 2s to Guardian Circle just to have giant shield between your, you know, the other grade 2 that gets a lot of shield. I'm forgetting the names right now. But yeah, I do think Impauldio does work a lot better as a tanky build, but I think these builds are still really fun to show off. The other version is with Reselect, but Reselect has to CB1 call to an open rearguard circle, so we're playing the grade 2 Impauldio card, this card right here, that sacks itself off to retire. I think we got it for, yeah, it was for the Artisaria matchup a while back that we got. So I think that's really interesting that you could try out, but probably Golduck is a little bit easier because he doesn't have to call to an open. But also, you know, Reselect is a monster, so you can grab it off Torrential Research, so it's more targets. Or you could, you know, send it from deck to drop and CB1 call him for a bit of an early game. But yeah, you know, most of your CB you usually want to keep just for Impauldio because none of these lists are playing Bubble Mine due to deck space. But yeah, Bubble Mine being able to grab off Torrential Research is also very, very nice. So we might see a build that's a little bit less tanky and maybe play more Bubble Mines and Torrential just to have this early game with Magnetic Force Monster Magnides. But yeah, you know, still very interesting that the potential is there, but I just want to showcase these deck lists as a very fun way of how you can play the deck and kind of just not really innovate because like honestly people already knew about this before, but just to have fun with more multi-attacks with Giant Crest power with Impauldio. So quickly to go over the Fortia cards, we have ActableCrescent Shelnarish, so friend, continuous rearguard circle. If you have another unit in the same column as that friend, that unit and this unit become friends, so harmony but not harmony, you know. If you have 5 or more other friends, all of your units in the same column as this unit get plus 5k also active during your opponent's turn. And because this says unit, you can make Van 18k base, which I think is pretty cool for Fortia. You know, is this really helping you in the Artist Area matchup? No. You know, it's still really, really good support. And then the auto is also pretty nice if you have basically placed on rearguard circle other than during the battle phase. If you have a Vanguard with the friend ability, you cost counterblast 1. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 unit card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from among them. Reveal it, put it into your hand if it is a card with a friend ability that has a different name for this unit, or you can call it to rearguard circle if it is not. Shuffle your deck. So technically this can add, you know, any generic and just call it to board, like UE card, whatnot, if it doesn't have the friend ability. You know, pretty solid card. Does kind of suck it uses counterblast, you know, instead of like energy or something else, but you know, still pretty good card. I think you still play Melty just to like cycle early game, but I could be wrong on that. I haven't looked at Fortia list in a little while, but yeah, honestly, really solid card. You know, 18k base to Van is really funny, and CB1 fill up your board with more friends is of course very good. Or you can of course call generics to just, you know, have them out on board, you know, have that full board, because you do need that full board of friends for Fortia to activate. So the last card to talk about is Stepping Up Together Lactine. So friend, continuous rearguard circle, if you have another unit in the same column, that unit and this unit become friends. And then auto rearguard circle, when the attack this unit boosted rearguard hits, if you have 3 or more other friends, you may return the boosted rearguard to your hand. So boomerang basically if you hit, which is kind of whatever. You kind of have better friends you could be playing. But yeah, I think the triple rare is more interesting. Just, you know, making your Van 18k base helps a lot with guarding, unless there's removal, which is pretty rare in, you know, lyrical, but it does exist. I think more so lock is definitely your worst matchup still for Fortia. Like I wish this, you know, new triple generic gave resist so you wouldn't like auto lose that matchup, but still nonetheless it's still very good support for the deck. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the Thursday live stream. I kind of yapped a lot about the potential of the Brandt Gate generic because I think that was definitely what stole the show besides the Impauldio triple rare. We also have prizing in JP for a Destined One Timepiece promo with just an anime screenshot of, you know, Hikari, which is kind of funny, as well as a Senko playmat. So I just wanted to point that out. Maybe one day we'll get that in English, hopefully soon, who knows. And then we also got SECs for Juicy Fruity and Venator, which I was not expecting, but I guess if you saw the deck code and you knew, you know, how many SECs were in from the product information, you would know that. But like, you know, not to me, but you know, maybe $40 SECs. The lyrical one will definitely go for more, but Venator I'm not too sure about. At least it'll be worth more than Werble, but I don't know. And we also have next week, we have Kashuu, the token Ranbu set, technically set 3. Technically it's the set 2 because like they had the first wave, then they had the crest, and then now this is like the 3rd wave technically. So, you know, we don't know if we'll get this in English, probably eventually, because we did get the first 2 quote unquote token Ranbu sets. But yeah, you know, new reveals for Kashuu. He is kind of like the Minerva that was like stacking his deck. I think he's a pretty interesting Vanguard. You know, they gave him like that crest effect. Oh, actually, no, he didn't get a crest. He just got a better grade 3 version. But we'll see how that turns out next week. I'll probably still make a video on that. We'll see. But yeah, definitely really excited about this triple rare Brandt Gate generic. You know, definitely pick it up. If you do play Brandt Gate, it will probably go up. You know, it's just that good. At least as a triple rare and not from like a festival booster. So, you know, getting high rarity of this will also be kind of annoying as well if you are looking for that as a Brandt Gate main. But definitely pick this up. Like, this card will definitely pop up in a lot of Brandt Gate lists as soon as the set drops. I'm sure people are cooking lists already. It is just that good of a card. You can't just ignore free early game off one set order. Again, it's probably going to be more common in decks that search it, like Archite, Ava, probably Ellie Glima as well. Like being able to check top 5, find your Mo Flash is just absolutely crazy. It was just hit to 1 in JP. It wasn't banned completely. So, you know, Bat is still technically playable. Are people going to play it? Probably not, but it is still a deck you have to watch out for, even though it was hit pretty hard in JP. So, yep, that's pretty much it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the meme list, which cards you'll be picking up. I think Impauldio mains are definitely celebrating right now. kind of really weird that, they saw this and, they saw Vav, they were like, it's fine, 4 Veil Lords, before the hit, 4 Veil Lords, double Yoke Shut, this is fine. And then they designed the Impauldio card, they're like, no, this is only gonna work wave 1. We can't let Impauldio do 5 attacks with crest numbers, that'd be too good. It's like very clear bias that you can see from this card design. But yeah, still very exciting nonetheless, and I'm just yapping. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna end the recording here, and I'll see you another time.